Hey guys, this is Sean from Southwestern Studios. Now I want to talk to you guys today about what lens to get for your Sony A6000 mirrorless camera. Alright, so chances are if you walked into your electronics store and bought the camera, you probably have this lens right here, which is the E35-56 PZ OSS lens. It's very small, it's very compact, it has a power zoom capability, but it does have significant flaws that really there's no answer for. And so in order for you to get like really good image quality, this one's not going to be so easy to do. So what are we going to do? We're going to take a look at a different lens. Now the lens I'm talking about is the 50mm 1.8 Ii Oss Lens. As you can see, it's mated onto the Sony A6000, and it makes pretty much a perfect complement or perfect partner to this camera right here. Let's talk about the lens and the camera system real quick. The A6000, even though it's getting a little bit old, it still is no slouch in the performing department, and it takes great quality images. This lens right here at 50mm allows you to have a nice portrait kind of setup and starting to become more of a short telephoto length lens, so you can get photos a little bit farther away, get them nice and focused. And if you're taking portraits, you can really have the nice the sharpness of the subject and have the background nice and blurred out. This lens works beautifully for that. So again, this lens is the 50mm 1.8 E mount, and as far as the lens goes, there's not much to it. As you can see, it's fairly short. It works well within the ergonomics of the A6000 itself. The lens hood actually makes up quite a lot of the length on there, but the lens hood is kind of long enough to where if you scratch it, nothing's going to happen to it. You're going to be fine. Also, too, the finish is very minimalistic. This one is silver, and it just has a focusing ring. Unfortunately, the ring is focused by wire, but you can still use focus peaking and, for the most part, get tack sharp manual focus shots. It's not super easy, but it's also not the worst. It is also very cheap, and it's very cheap, a very sharp, a very powerful native lens for the Sony A6000. Now the reason why I say native is the fact that it will work with all the features that the A6000 has to offer. It is also very silent. So if you are shooting video or you're using autofocus in a place where you need to keep the volume really low, this is also a great performer. So you could actually buy a full frame lens, the Sony FE50 1.8, and put it on this one. The problem is though, it's going to have a little bit slower autofocus speed, and it is loud, it is noisy. It is like someone outside doing construction with a jackhammer when you are focusing it. This one, it's nice and quiet. You can take pictures all day, all night, nobody will ever notice it. And same thing with video too as well. You can use video, autofocus, you won't notice it. So it's really good. Again, like I said, the price is around $250 right now on Amazon. The price of the A6000 is somewhere around $500 to $700 depending on where you buy it, but it's still fairly cheap. So for under $1,000, you have a very good camera and a very good lens. Now combined, they both take amazing quality images at a relatively cheap price. Much better images than you'll get from this one. So, any other features that I may have left out on here? Let's see if I can think of one. Actually, no, not really. There are other and cheaper portrait lens options for the A6000 system. However, most of them are not native, and there are some issues that go along with it. But you may be well served to actually take a look at those ones. But if you're a consumer walking into your local Best Buy or electronics store, wherever you're at, you know, this lens is going to be one that is easily available with the camera as it is right now, and it's pretty cheap. Whereas with the other third-party lenses, you might have to look around, you might have to go online, go to a different store and whatnot, and it makes it just a little bit more inconvenient to get that lens. So this one right here, again, the pros of it: very good image quality, very small, very compact, very lightweight, very silent, and again, takes great images. I got to list that pro 2 times. The cons of it, There's not much to the lens itself. It's decently built. There's only just the one focusing ring, and that's it. And it does suffer from a bit of chromatic aberration, and you can kind of see that, especially if you're shooting the JPEGs and printing them out. It's there. It's not severe, but it is there, and it's noticeable. However, if you're using Lightroom or something like that, it's pretty easy to correct, so it's not that big of an issue. For the price, though, for its relatively cheap price, it does an amazing job of getting good images, especially with this A6000. Now, if we're talking about the A6500, I have a completely separate recommendation, which you can see right here. But for this cheap little camera, still very relevant. It's very cheap, but it takes very good images. And I think for cameras and for not only for photographers, but also for consumers, that's something that's very important. With this one right here, as a consumer, you're going to take a look at it and say, well, this looks kind of like an iPhone. It's not going to be good. But with this lens on this camera, you're going to take the picture and it's going to look much, much, much better than your iPhone. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this little talk of mine. I'll be back soon with my next video. And until then, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later.